Okay, guys. Um, and scene. If we're okay, we're leaving that in the real take. So Josh here, I've got David Gray, and we are leaving that in the final take. David's in Austin, Texas. He's just been through the program. He's been hired. David, go ahead and tell everyone listening today a little bit about your background in business and sales before you found Prehired.
Sure. I was in the military when I was in my 20s, and then I got out, got into nonprofit management. I was in there, got my degree in economics, came to Austin. I ended up working for a SaaS company, for a software company, doing content authoring. We restructured, and I was laid off a little bit over a year ago, and so I needed a career change. And so that's how I kind of stumbled on you guys while I was doing searches for my next adventure.
All right. So you're looking for your next step. You've worked at a SaaS organization or a tech company, but not in sales and content. And you found us. So what was going through your mind when you found us? Because there's not really many companies doing what we're doing. We're a sales boot camp for tech companies. We do all this in 6 weeks. So what was going through your mind when you found us?
Well, I know how to do market research, and I was thinking medical field, and I was looking at some different things there. I got into life insurance sales because I thought that it was, kind of self-starting, and I'm a pretty good self-starter. But I found your ad where you talked about careers that are commission sales that don't offer a base, and you really spoke to the problems that I was seeing in my experience in life insurance. It's not everybody's experience, but you spoke directly.
Yeah, tell us about the problems you were having, because a lot of people working in commission-only sales, whether you're in car sales, insurance, even real estate, agents can have this issue as well. There's a lot of commission-only sales jobs out there. What were some of the issues that the article that I wrote spoke to you, and go through that with everyone, because it's good for people to hear that.
Sure. It's a lot of times it's very much kind of a lottery system. There are people who make a lot of money in real estate and life insurance, but they're fewer and far between. There's a lot of exploitation of people coming into the field to get for commission, getting their leads and whatnot, because there's a lot of pressure on leads. So then the other aspect was training isn't always what you want it to be, especially if you're self-starting. There's people who are like, go read a book and then figure out how to become successful. Here's your license. Here's you can write for us, but you need to figure out how to do it. Mm-hmm. So just a lack of good training, lack of good mentorship.
Yeah, and David, I see that a lot because it's feast or famine, like you said, in commission-only jobs. And the reason why is because there's low barrier to entry. Anyone, because they're not investing any time, like they threw a book at you and said, try to figure this out. Here's our product information. Here's a book. They're not putting time into you. They're not putting money into you because they're only paying you if you produce. So it's literally no investment at all in terms of resources, time, or money on the company's part. And so pretty much anybody with a pulse that comes up to them and says, hey, can I try working for you? They're like, sure thing. And if you're one of the 100 or how many people that make it, they make a little money, you make a little money. But if you can't figure out how to sustain your leads, let's say you do make it, you still got to sustain your leads. You need to build a pipeline of leads for yourself. If you can't keep it going after you've exhausted friends and family, then you're left again looking for another job in 3 months, even if you're able to make a couple $1,000s for the first 3 months. But most people can't even make that. They're barely paying bills in these commission-only jobs. And it's because, and I'm going to go ahead and say this for everyone listening, if you go and apply for a commission-only job and they tell you they don't have a base salary to pay you, they're telling you one of two things. Number one is, I don't believe in you and your ability as a salesperson to do this job. It may not be true, but that's what they're saying. Option number one is, I don't believe in you and your abilities. Or number two is, I don't believe in our product or our company enough to offer you a base salary and invest time and money into you. Either way, people that go for commission-only jobs are the ones that just can't get or don't know how to get the jobs that pay a strong base and commission. But even if you find them and know how to get them, if you don't know how to do the job, which is normally a very technical sales role, involves a lot of different things, then you still can't get the job, even though us in sales, and I talk about this a lot in the program, and David, I know I'm on a rant here, but I'm very passionate about this. There's so many egotistical salespeople out there, and it's good to have confidence in sales. It really is, but not to the point where you're like, I know everything. I've been in sales for so long. There's nothing new to learn. That's ridiculous. I still spend thousands of my own dollars every month personally, myself, to learn sales stuff from other people. I'm always buying books, courses, like training programs, and I'm studying. I'm even paying for people's time sometimes just to teach me what they're doing in their sales teams so that I can learn more and more and more. So if you ever get to a point where you think you know it all in sales, watch out, because you're about to have a really hard time in your career. Now, end rant. Back to David. Man, you're just getting me rolling. Also, I've been on the phone all day, so I'm a little bit lightheaded, probably a little blood sugar, so I might say some weird stuff. This is a live call. I love it. Right, David? So that's where you were at. You found us. You knew you wanted to make a change. What was it like getting into the program and going through Prehired?
Sure. I mean, I've looked at the testimonials, which we're making right here, and watching and being, I'm very skeptical. So I'm like, is this, they're paying this guy? Are they paying this girl? Or, or are they really not so successful? Or, but they don't want to admit that they weren't successful. And it's just, you can't watch too many of these testimonials without seeing these are real people who are legitimately becoming successful through this program. And so it took me a few videos, and then I got on the horn with the recruiter, and I was ready to do it and start that day. So I mean, and I look back, no regrets.
All right, so you got into the program. What was something that, because people see on our website that we've got the tools, we got the skills and the workflows as the three main pillars we go over. What was something that just really stood out of the material that was covered that you really liked, or something that just blew you away? What was one thing? I know there's a lot.
I mean, even when I was going into it, I was like, okay, they're going to show me a few things that I probably couldn't Google, but and there are some things there that someone could probably Google, but it's so concentrated and so contemporary. I mean, talking about the life insurance, I was being taught all of this legacy sales technique that doesn't apply to the real world or the tech, the modern technical world.
Yep. Everything
in this program that I can tell was useful and moved me a step forward towards this career. So, I mean, I thought it was all wonderful, accessible. You're easy to watch teaching. I've had good professors and bad professors, and a bad professor can make a good subject terrible, and vice versa. So some of the stuff that's drier, you're able to keep, interesting, and the stuff that, like I say, would be exciting, you're able to move that quickly. So the tools that I didn't have access to, and great leads on being able to access tools without having to spend a lot of money to practice. I mean, that's very valuable information. And then just yours and your other coaches' years of experience that you're not going to Google and get that. When I have a question, I'm going to get a real answer.
Yeah. So. All right. So, man, thanks for sharing all that. One of the things you did hit on was some of the tools, and you mentioned lead generation. I'm just going to mention one thing on that, because you mentioned just prior commission-only sales jobs, and they're tough. It's feast and famine. And really, it's leads. I mean, leads are the lifeblood of any business and any salesperson. So when you can learn to generate your own leads and work those and close those. So for anyone listening, just because you're a self-professed closing master or master of closing, no one cares anymore. Like, closing is the easiest part of sales nowadays. What's hard is doing all the steps that took you up to that point. Because if you do a good job in the phases of prospecting, qualifying, discovery, and advising, I mean, there's different quadrants, and in there's all these different steps. If you do your job at every step of the way and follow a process, then at the end, closing is natural. Everyone loves to buy, but no one likes to be sold. So remember that closing, not that big of a deal anymore. So if that's your mindset, you probably need to take another check about what mindset you subscribe to, and that legacy comment, the old school selling, always be closing. No, always be helping. So moving forward, lead generation. So we do cover that, how to get leads at a lower cost, or how to do that at scale. Because when you can learn to do that and put it in a system, it works. All right. So that was what you liked out of the program. Now, getting a job, getting hired, run us through, what was that like for you personally, David? How long did you go about doing it? How many companies did you go after? What were some of your numbers and the results of using the science-based sales system?
Sure. So I'm a pretty quick study, and one of your other testimonials, one of the guys was saying that he actually started his search even before he got the certification, and I did that. It was a little premature because I started sending out resumes and applications on Friday before 5 p.m. And I was like, I'm not going to send them on the weekend. I was just, by noon of Monday, I had 4 interviews lined up. So interviews started pouring in. I mean, this is one of those things like, just got to tell them the truth. I mean, I can send people my Google Calendar. You can call and see all of these phone interviews that I started getting. And then probably
and to clarify too, to jump in there, David, these are not just random companies that most people just end up applying like 100 crappy companies, and then they like 4 or 5 of the the ones they're not excited about get back to. You made an ideal company profile checklist of who are the companies you want to be working with, and then those are the ones replying back, ones you actually want to be working for potentially, right?
Exactly. And so, and I was getting probably 1 in 6 were responding. At least I'd have to pull up my report, but it was an unprecedented number. I used to be a vocational coach in nonprofit, showing people how to send out resumes, and I've never seen this type of response. So I'm getting all of these phone interviews, and then some of those turned into second interviews. And then I guess the reason I had said it was a little premature is I hadn't really practiced my interview skills with these particular stakeholders. And the great thing is you and Andrew, my coach, helped me through that. And then just the problem, as you recall, my answers were a little bit too long. You might be picking it up here. A little bit too long and wordy, and honestly, the people I was interviewing with were probably saying, "Well, this guy's going to exhaust my customers." I ran some of those by you guys, and you're like, and had me go solicit feedback, and we found out what it was, and I got hired a week later when I adjusted my interview. I mean, I had dozens of interviews that and second interviews and presentations, and just wasn't getting it until you guys, I came back to you guys and said, something's not working, and you helped me, and I got hired.
Yeah, and you know what? So I'll point out 2 things. Number one is, so this is so fun, and this is free training on these calls. I love it. So David and I, for anyone watching, have very similar personality styles on the DISC profile. We're both influence as a primary, which means we're very charismatic. We love to talk. We love to overcome objections with our ability to communicate and reason with people. That actually gets us excited. Like, that's what drives us. We love having fun with people. So that's like a primary communication style for us, but that only represents 25% of the population. We've got dominant, influence, steady, and compliance. So David and me have extreme high I influence in our personality styles. And so everyone has a varying level of each one, but most people have a primary and secondary, and the other 2 are very undeveloped. So with me, though, I've been studying this stuff for well over 10 years, 12 years now. So I've learned that my strength can also be a weakness if I don't learn to adjust my style when I'm talking with other people. So I'm talking to him right now one-on-one, and all of you are watching us. So I can be a little more energetic and charismatic because of the style of this. But if I was talking to someone specifically that was steady or compliance or dominant, which has different traits, and I'm not going to go into it in this call, it's too detailed to do that, I would adjust the way I communicate with them. I might slow my rate of speech so I don't sound as excited. Maybe I sound more confident because I slow my rate of speech, make gestures with my hand, pause. I'm in control of the conversation. I'm taking my time. So I'm not going to get deep into that, but that's the type of stuff we can help people with. And that's the thing that I remember, David, we found out about, and we could have found out earlier if you just got certified before then, right? But that's the whole thing is, we're fine with guys and girls going out on their own without even talking to us and doing this. But if we can help you early on and you show us what you're doing, we can help you get results right away. And that's what you did, though. As soon as we corrected that, we're like, yep, that's the issue. You got offers in. Tell us about where you ended up landing and kind of what you're going to be doing now.
Sure. It's Indio Systems. They're here in Austin. They started in California. They're expanding here in Austin, and I will be selling essentially business software to life insurance agencies. So it wasn't a key component that I had 6 months of life insurance experience, but that probably helped a little bit. But mostly, like I said, it was just they said they liked my style. I know they interviewed you to interview me. As a reference, and so this is what got me the job. I mean, I got me the job, but through you.
Actually, I forgot about that until you brought it up. They did give me a call, and I provided a reference. That's right, and we do that. So we tell everyone too. So anyone's listening, when you go through our program and we give you your certification, we've documented your success and what you've done in the program. So whenever you go out for interviews, you can list this as a reference. We're not a job reference because you've done a project for us and you've actually proven you can build a sales funnel and use science-based sales to actually develop your own leads and then go follow them up through closing. So that's what we provide a reference for. So when people call us to say, hey, I'm calling about David, he's applied with a job for us, I got questions for you, we've got it all documented so we can answer their questions about what we think as far as your strengths and weaknesses are, and are you a good hire, and what can you be capable of. So that's exactly what we did, and I completely forgot that we did that. And yeah, we did. So David, congrats on your new job. I'm excited for you, man. The last thing I do want to ask you though, is we've got a lot of people who've been following us for 11, we're almost 12 months old. We're 11 months now, but they've been following us since day one, and they still haven't made a decision, whether they think they can do this. They still have some doubts. They're on the fence about Prehired and if it's for them. So what would you tell to someone who maybe has been in your shoes in the past and they're just still kind of on the fence about this whole thing?
I mean, if you are somebody who is having difficulty moving into a new career and you're coachable, this is it. I mean, I'm closing in on 50. It's almost a complete career change for me. I thought I was going to have ageism going against me, very, very little sales experience. I'm coachable. If you're coachable, you wouldn't probably be watching this if you weren't looking for a coaching program. So I would say, take the chance. It is the best thing I've spent on tuition, and I've spent a lot of money on tuition in my life. So it's excellent. I mean, the guarantees are a signal that they stand behind their product, their service, and I'm never afraid to give them a call. It's soup to nuts, just a wonderful experience, and it's changed my life. So like I say, I start on Monday and can't wait for that aspect of this, evolution.
David, I started laughing because I was just like, man, I can tell you're just so excited about just what you've done with us, and now that you get your new job, I'm like, gosh, it's like maybe I should just give you the $100 bill over the camera or something. I get some money for testing and for praises. But guys, for real, this was not planned. David and I just hopped on the call, and man, I'm so excited this worked out for you. And for everyone else listening, we do have tons of other stories like David's. We're not able to meet with everyone, but the fact is, man, thanks for saying that. We do stand behind our guarantee. That's why we have an admissions call. We want to talk to you about where you've been, where you want to be with your career, and we tell you what it's like working in tech sales, and then we both make a decision together whether or not to have you into the program and if this is going to be a fit for you. So if we let you in and we think it's a good fit, it's because we know that when you graduate, you're going to represent our brand in the tech world and get the word out even more. So we only want to let people in that's going to succeed. So we're putting our stamp on it, and if you don't succeed, we're giving you a refund because that's on us. So David, again, thanks for sharing your story with everyone. And yeah, man, have a good week. Good luck on the new career as you're starting in software sales.
Thank you.